forever young? Or am I faking on the tip of my tongue? There's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all. With your wings entwining, you better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking on the tip of my tongue? There's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again.
Hello and welcome to Rockingham here for the Great Lakes Truck Series. Once again, race number 2 of the season after Daytona. And I'm joined in the booth by Seth Cole this week. Seth, how we doing?
Doing good. I'll tell you what, coming off the heels of an exciting season opener and now putting a full field of trucks here on maybe one of the most abrasive and challenging mile racetracks in the Rock. I mean, this is going to be interesting because it's complete polar opposites here for the first 2 races to open up the season.
2 complete polar opposites indeed. And I think we're joined in the booth actually by one of our drivers on the grid, Elliot Henderson. Elliot, Kyle, and Seth up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, I do. What's going on, Kyle?
Going well. Just another night here in the Great Lakes Truck Series. What can you tell us about the track here tonight, Elliot?
Well, from my starting position, it is not going to be a fun one. It's a really loose on exit right now, and it kind of plows on entry. And then as the run goes on, it just gets tighter and tighter to the point that these guys may or may not be going up to the wall and actually hitting it on corner exits. So we'll have to see how it all works out, but right now I'm just kind of nervous about trying to survive the beginning, starting all the way back here in the 30s after botching the qualifying run, so we'll see.
You mentioned you're starting back there a little behind 30th place. What's the? I don't expect you to give me the full details here, but what's necessarily your plan going into today? What's the strategy?
Sit back, let them wreck if they're going to wreck, and we've got 150 laps to get it done. We only really need to take a couple tire sets. I think fuel runs about 45 to 50 laps, so just going to sit here and pick them off as much as we can without trying to get in the middle of anything, and see where we are about halfway through and see how aggressive we need to be at that point.
Nice. Always great to hear from you, Elliot. We hope to talk to you later on during the race. I know you got a race to focus on at this point.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you for talking to us, Elliot.
Thanks, guys.
That's Elliot Henderson, driver of the number 37 car for E95 Esports, starting back in 31st here today after a poor qualifying effort. Unfortunately, you look like I was watching his qualifying run personally. It looked like he got loose in 3 and 4 both times around. Very difficult racetrack here, Seth.
Yeah, and you heard him say, the truck starts out loose, tightens up as the run goes on, and Rockingham is a multi-groove racetrack, but kind of the monsters, the gremlins we're hearing that they're going to be dealing with the handling of their trucks. It's going to be interesting to see just how much passing we'll see during the course of these runs. You might be a little bit nervous to send it into the inside of turn 1, which is a very tight corner, a bit of a heavy braking zone here as well. 3 and 4, especially off of turn 4, if you're feeling that loose sensation. I kind of liken the turn 4 here, although it's not the same kind of surface, to Dover. You start to get that right rear tire heated up, and that thing just wants to snap on corner exit. Seen a lot of drivers dealing with that here today. Another thing that I observed here as well, Kyle, we know the lack of track position that the guy we just talked with, Elliot Henderson, is going to be dealing with. We know he's got a fast truck. There's a lot of other fast drivers that are mired back outside the top 20 as well. I see Shane Neiswanger back there, Shane Tyrion, Hunter Madalinas is back there, and even our Daytona winner, Lewis Woodall, he's going to be starting shotgun on the field, obviously coming into this race the points leader. So a lot of these guys with fast trucks deep in the field got a lot of work to do.
It looks like Lewis Woodall's front end is destroyed. I'm not sure what happened to Woodall here on the pace laps, but our Daytona winner getting his first career victory here in Great Lakes competition last week at Daytona looks to maybe already be out of the race, sitting on pit road with very heavy damage. You hate to see it this early on. You were mentioning a driver like Shane Terrian, though, Seth, and that's a driver I'm going to be watching for. He has a lot of speed. I can expect him to come through the field. Neiswanger as well. Tyler McClellan, another good driver starting back there. But let's go to the front. Ashton Lawson with a great qualifying effort. And look at the return on the high side. It's TCB. Tyrell Baker making his return here to the Great Lakes Truck Series. Barba Gelada and Zach Henry behind him. And those 4 right there were only separated by, I think, around 7 thousandths of a second. First to 4th in qualifying. Very close qualifying for the pole here, Seth.
A lot of experience all the way through the field. There's obviously a couple of drivers sporting rookie stripes with being their first full-time season, but they've still got experience with these trucks at this racetrack as well. I did check back of what happened to our Daytona winner, Lewis Woodall. rolling off the grid. Looks like they stacked up a little bit there on the outside line, and Woodall ran into the back of the 28 of James Shiplett. So unfortunate front-end damage to start this thing off for the 13.
Green flag is waving here at the Rock. A good start from Ashton Lawson in the 24. Good start of the race for him. And Barbagelata, he's going to move up into the second spot. Tyrell Baker going to fall back to third. Henry in fourth. Right behind him is Jordan Gonzalez. Jordan Gonzalez, definitely a driver to watch out for today. I know he was practicing really hard this week, and he has a lot of speed in qualifying, looking to snag a victory.
You notice just how quickly they all decided to get single file. I think you got to go all the way back to around maybe the 15th position to see some side-by-side battling. These guys trying to settle in, let the trucks come to them, figure out what they've got here in the opening laps.
Some battles up here around the fourth position. Nathan Nicholson looking to pass his two teammates in one lap, gets past Gonzalez, and now he gets past his teammate Henry. Power moves from the 99 of Nathan Nicholson. His return to 25-11 this season so far, looking like a strong one.
When you say power move, there's no doubt about that. Did it around the top side there through 3 and 4. A lot of times you run up there, you can overstep the cushion, find yourself into the outside safer barrier. So very strong opening laps for the 99, already up inside of the top 5.
A driver that's on the move is that number 4 machine of Jake the Snake Miller. Last season's champion, the driver of the number 4, Jake Miller, trying to make his way to the front of the 14 of Fitzgerald. Looks like he is spun around going into turn number 1. Right there on the inside of the track, Gavin Fitzgerald. You hate to see it. He's going to lose a lot of time. No caution has came out for this incident. It looks like he spun off track. So no caution for the Giant Tiger Toyota.
We avoided a caution by inches. He looped it around down the front straightaway infield grass, started coming back up the track towards turn 1. I think he was maybe 6 inches his front splitter from that yellow line. If he had passed that yellow line with oncoming traffic, we probably would have seen the officials throw the yellow flag. So obviously at this point in time now, Gavin Fitzgerald, he's just kind of in ride mode, trying to make sure he doesn't tear up those Goodyears anymore and keep himself on the lead lap. He's hoping for a yellow flag to save him.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's really going to be hoping for a caution flag. Yeah, it looks like he just got a little up into the wall out of 4 and just self-spun it off the wall. Plenty of time to recover from that, but he is definitely going to need a caution to get back into the running of this thing. Leader's not too far behind him, so he's going to have to hope for a caution here within the next couple of laps, because I know those tires are probably pretty scorched after that slide back onto the racetrack. But ever since we got the green flag, Lawson has led all the laps so far. William Barbagelata has been keeping in tow. And Tyrell Baker, after not really expecting that restart from the number 24, has slowly been inching his way back forward, trying to catch up to these two.
Keep an eye on the 21 of RJ Williams. He started 9th on the grid, dropped back to 11th, just picked up a spot from Josh Caudill back up into the top 10. He was the fastest in practice, and I was watching him during that practice session, did quite a number of long runs. So if this thing continues green, he might be one of the guys to see progressing forward towards the front of the field if we get into a long green flag run. Starting to also see a little bit of cloud cover over there in the 3 and 4 area. These guys, when they practiced earlier on, the track was bathed in sunlight. So we'll see if that little bit of added grip if the track cools can help these drivers with maneuverability.
You see Christopher Heller, driver the number 11, making a move to the inside. Josh Caudill trying to complete the pass. Kyle Hall right behind him. And here comes the number 29 and Nathan Jump as well. And Hall's going to dive to the inside of Caudill. Out of turn 4, he had a great run out of the corner. Here comes the 87 to the inside, and Caudill slides up, almost getting into the wall. Hall might be able to clear him out of the corner, and he will.
Caudill's going the wrong way. Has already lost 4 spots since the start of this race. Just doesn't seem like that truck can hook the bottom, and he's not able to get back to the throttle through the center of the corner like a lot of the others behind him. So right now, he's struggling just a little bit.
Struggling a little bit going backwards in that number 32 machine, but still very early on. Nathan Jump putting the pressure on now on the number 32 machine off the corner. Hall gets a little loose off of 2, not going to lose any time.
Like up towards the front, Tyrell Baker putting a little bit of pressure on Barbagelata for that second position. Now going to jump up there to, we'll call that the third groove there into turns 1 and 2. Trying to see if he can get a good exit down Thunder Valley, the back straightaway. They closed it up by about half a truck length, but I don't think he really gained as much as he thought he would. I think right now what he's doing more than anything is he's trying to get some clean air to the nose, doesn't want to deal with that aero tightness, especially going into turn 1.
I think it's a mixture of that and just really trying to figure out what he can do as the tires wear out. Maybe trying to set up a move going into one of these corners. His corner entry is going to be a huge talking point here at Rockingham. Oh, caution's out. Oh, heavy contact. Looks like the 92 of Sensing. I think that's Matt McDermott. And the number 35 machine has gone around as well. Very heavy contact for the 92 of Sensi.
Looks like it was between the 92 of Sensi and the 95 of Tyler McClellan. So this would have been somewhere just inside the latter portions of the top 20. It's hard to tell. They just kind of wanted the same piece of real estate going into turn 1. And it was the 92 of Sensi who unfortunately snapped around, came right back down the racetrack, and had a number of drivers entering into the vicinity.
Let's take a look at the replay here. Here we have a replay on the incident. On the outside in the 92, you have Sensi. On the inside, you have the 95 of McClellan. Can't really tell from that angle, but it looks like they were just so close and make contact. And a secondary incident back there, it looked like that was the 2022 machine. Couldn't make out who the 22 machine was. I think that's Michael Barbagelata and Elliot Henderson in the 37 getting into a secondary incident, trying to avoid this one, coming through turns 1 and 2. And Henderson took a pretty heavy hit to the outside wall, it looked like, in that 37 machine. Let's take a look from Henderson's perspective back here as he's trying to get through this incident. Here's Henderson in the 37 machine on the outside of Fritz, and Fritz, oh no, Fritz was sliding up to avoid the incident and got right into Henderson. Henderson, very heavy damage to the right side and to the nose of that machine.
We talked before they went green to Elliot Henderson. He was not happy that he was going to be kind of back in the eye of the storm, back in a lot of traffic with the poor qualifying effort. Now we see why. Not very easy to make your way through a wreck, especially if it takes place in the corner, the entrance of the corner. Matt McDermott, who I think got the worst out of all of that big hit to the front end of his 35, he actually was reacting to that secondary incident that we looked at there, and ended up running into the 92 of Michael Sensi. So I think his focus was on that secondary incident, didn't see that there had been something that had occurred further up.
Well, all of this was going on. I just took a look at our pit stops, and it looks like the whole field saw the top 3 drivers come down pit road and all stayed out. So our top 3 drivers are now all at the back of the field. Ashton Lawson, William Barbagelata, and Tyrell Baker in 28th, 29th, and 31st at the moment. Crazy turn of events here, Seth.
Yeah, and now these guys are going to have to dial it back, talking about Lawson, Barbagelata, and Baker, because they were able to just go once the green flag dropped, didn't really have anybody up in front of them to have to deal with. And now they're going to be mired way back in traffic, so they got to adjust their racing style now and probably have to deal with that aero tightness being back in the pack like a lot of other drivers had. I like this call, to be honest, because you get those fast trucks mired far enough back, you might be able to run 15, 20, 25 laps before they even get back up inside of the top 10 with the fresh tires.
It's a good point, Seth. And even when they do get back up to the top 10, they've made so many passes and have went in so many outrageous lines that they usually wouldn't take. And at that point, the tires might have even evened out for these drivers. So it's a very good call for Nicholson and Henry, and luckily enough, the whole field stayed out with them. And this is a crazy turn of events for those 3 drivers who just pulled out to a big lead at the very beginning of the race. Now they're going to have to work their way from the back here.
No surprise, see Nathan Nicholson with the lane choice as the race leader, choosing the top. We saw him in the early stages of this race make a couple passes on the high side, and also gives you a little bit better of an entry into turn 1 as well. This track in its layout with how you have to approach the corners kind of reminds me a little bit of a reversed Darlington. It's a much tighter corner in 1 and 2, kind of like 3 and 4 is at the Lady in Black, and then a wider sweeping 3 and 4, kind of like turns 1 and 2 at Darlington. So, you know, obviously you want to have your truck set up for everywhere on the racetrack, but you might have to focus on just one area and hope that you can traverse through the other 2 corners safely.
Pace car about to pull onto pit road here. I expect what to happen here is Nicholson will probably pull down in front of his teammate Henry here on the restart. But we'll have to see. Green flag is in the air, and a good restart from the number 99 is going to be able to pull down right in front of his teammate. the number 12, Zachary Henry, his other teammate, Jordan Gonzalez, right behind him, the third driver on the inside, and Jake Bransky making his return to Great Lakes competition. Another caution's out. Incident in 1 and 2.
That's Baker.
And that's what happens when you get mired back in traffic. Tyrell Baker, TCB, possibly the fastest driver out here tonight, was making some moves there at the end of that first run, was catching up to our 2 leaders, has gone around here on lap number 19 right after the green flag. We're going to have a replay here for you on the incident. Looks like the number 025 of Baker with the restart jumps to the high side right behind Henderson, and they're beginning to check up on the inside. He tries to, it looks like someone slid up into him on the inside. I couldn't make out who that was. I think that was Steven Sims, the driver of the number 6. Looked like he slid up a little bit going into turns 1 and 2 and got into the quarter panel of Baker. No damage to Baker, and he's pretty much going to be in the same spot as he was before.
That was a super shallow entry there for Steven Sims in that 6 truck. I'm not certain how he thought he was even going to be able to make the corner. I talked about just how tight turn 1 is. Truck wants to push up the racetrack, and when you enter in that shallow with that much speed, you're not really going to be able to get that thing to hook the inside line down on the yellow. So unfortunate there for Tyrell Baker, and again, just kind of keep hitting home. Track position is going to be important here tonight, because you lose the track position, you're back in this mess. And we saw one of the drivers that spent the first 15 or so laps up inside of the top 3, bringing out the second caution.
Track position's key at a track like this. It's just hard to pass, and I was talking right before the caution came out. The entrances on this track it's just huge. It's so easy to slide up at this track into that high lane, into another driver's lane, and get them in the quarter panel or in the door. It's so easy at this track. It's so easy to slide up. Not much grip at the bottom of the racetrack going into these corners. It's a very difficult and very, very bumpy racetrack here at Rockingham.
Oh, definitely bumpy, especially over in the center of 3 and 4. I was watching these guys, and it was almost like watching a boat on a wave, like going back and forth, front to back. I mean, it is so abrasive for these drivers to have to traverse their way around this racetrack, and they've got to do it for 148 laps. I mean, not only is this track abrasive, but it's also taxing on man and machine. You got the truck that's obviously taking mechanical wear, but you've also got the driver who's taking some physical wear with just the jostling that's going on inside the cockpit of these machines.
Rockingham has always been a fan favorite, whether it's real life or here on iRacing, because it's just a very interesting racetrack, different from most ovals, and it has a lot of character, a lot of history. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people in real life NASCAR want this track brought back. Has a lot of character, and it's very different here at Rockingham. I enjoy the racing here always.
I don't know if it means much right now, but maybe further on down the road it might. On that restart as well, I was watching the drivers that were the race leaders prior to the caution. They came down pit road, Ashton Lawson and Will Barbagelata, and Lawson got stacked up behind some drivers on the top side. Barbagelata was able to get by him before that caution came out. So right now, Barbagelata in the 27 is running the highest on fresh tires in the 26th position. I don't know if that pass for position right then could translate to him being the race leader when the remaining 25 drivers that have stayed out at this point come to pit road, but we'll have to wait and see.
You'll have to wait and see what happens with those drivers, if they're able to make their way through the field, and what's the strategy for these drivers up front. When do they plan on coming down pit road? Do they plan on coming in on the next caution in 5 or 10 laps if a caution comes out at that point? Or are they hoping this goes for a long green flag run? We'll have to see, but it's been a couple of cautions here early on in the goings here at the Rock. Pace car is about to pull off here after caution number 2 on lap number 22 of 148 here in the GLR, the Great Lakes Racing 150 here at Rockingham Speedway. It's off to an interesting start. I'm hoping these drivers can clean it up and we can see some of those drivers from the back of the pack come to the front.
It's going to be interesting to see for this restart here too. Obviously the tires somewhat worn for these guys up here at the front. They're now getting a chance for them to cool down, so they're going to be a little bit slippery going into the first corner.
Here they go into turn 1. Once again, Nicholson's going to be able to drop down in front of his teammate Henry, and there must have been some communication on the radio because Gonzalez is going to take his spot back from Bransky, and it's 1-2-3 for 25-11 Racing here at the front of the field.
by side around the 8th position. Josh Cottle. Got Brandon Barkuski to his inside. Right behind them, Christopher Heller looking on. Ooh, wow. Big move up there to the top side. RJ Williams almost chopped the nose off of Cottle going into turn 1, but he was clear and trying to see if he can get to that 4 of Jake Miller, trying to see if he can get a spot from the defending champ.
Williams putting the pressure on Miller, trying to find a lane all over his bumper on the back straightaway last time and all over his bumper here as well on the front stretch. Really putting the pressure on. Gonzalez making a move for second on the outside. Not going to be able to make it stick up there. Falls right back. But some good battles going on here at the front of the field at the moment. And Nicholson's really trying to check out on the field.
Fresh tires are starting to move their way through the field as well. Will Barbagelato's just about to crack the top 20. Shane Tyrion's picked up about 3 or 4 spots, and Gavin Fitzgerald is also making his way up there towards the top 25. The one that's losing ground, I think he might have had a problem there, was Ashton Lawson in the 24. He, along with Fred Cremines and Matthew Rodriguez, were very slow there through 1 and 2 that last time by.
Cremines was slow. Cremines is still slow on the racetrack. Shiflett was pretty slow. I don't know exactly what happened there, but something got stacked up. And the 24 was at the center of it. And you can see the front part of that 24 machine. It's all bent up on the front nose of that 24 of Ashton Lawson. You see it right there. Look how bent up and just curled and crinkled the front end of that machine is.
It's back in turn 1, 3 wide. Hard to tell who the truck was on the inside, but it was Ashton Lawson on the top side, and Fred Cremines was in the middle. And Cremines, I think there might have been a little gap whack there between him and the 24. Big hit.
Up front, they're going to save it. Oh, never mind. Miller's going to spin, and he's going to stop it on the back straightaway.
Look out. Oh, they're still sliding in. Shane Tyrion slid. Nick Martin's around, it appears, in the 42.
Oh, man. Massive. Oh, that could have been a lot bigger of an accident than it was, but it took almost 10 seconds for that accident actually to happen. I'll try to get you a replay on that incident momentarily. There you see Nick Martin in the 42 machine for front range, and he's going to get it back straight and try to get back going. But a very crazy accident involving our reigning champ here.
You talk about how much worse it could have been. I thought for a brief moment the 9 of Hunter Manalinas was going to completely annihilate him.
Here's the replay on the incident, it looks like here. You're going to see Jordan Gonzalez in that black and red Dale Earnhardt machine at the very top. He's going to get up into the wall coming out of 2 here on this replay. Here you see Gonzalez gets a little... Oh, no, actually, no. It looks like he got contact from Bransky, actually. Then it looks like Williams gets in the back of Miller, and Miller's just trying to stop it, slow it down, and... Oh, my gosh. Everybody just kind of avoided him right there. Oh, my goodness. Looks like Terry had barely touched him on the bumper, but I don't know how everybody avoided Miller right there.
Trying to make out who the other truck was that Tyrion made contact with. I think that might have been the one of Brent Kingcott. So he had about maybe 5 trucks that got bits and pieces of this wreck. And to your point, it could have been so much worse. You've got that wall on the inside. You've got the safer barrier on the outside. There's not a whole lot of room to maneuver when you've got trucks darting left and right. So tell you what, we're very, very fortunate we don't have more torn up trucks as we do right now.
Here we are looking at the FRN machine of Shane Tarian. See what he sees on this replay here. Driver, the number 38 machine in that purple machine. There you see him. He gets loose, gets spun in there. Yeah, I think that was Kingcott, it looked like, in the number 1, and just barely touches Miller. That's all the contact Miller really got from that incident. It was right there at the very end. But could have been a lot worse, but definitely some trucks with a decent amount of damage out there from that incident, including the 38 here of Tarian, the number 1 of Kingcott, 42 of Martin. Take another look at the replay here. Looks like the 38 slows up for the incident initially, and Kingcott just wasn't quite ready and just got into the back of him, and that's where it caused that incident on the top side of the track.
You know, something to observe here, both Shane Tyrion and the 42 of Martin, when they got hard on the brakes, both their trucks snapped on them. So it'll be interesting to see as the run continues on, as the race progresses, if more drivers are going to avoid an incident. They're probably going to have to try and pump the brakes rather than slam on the brakes, or else they might find themselves cascading into an inside wall.
Yeah, that exit of turn 2, it just really kind of closes off right there. It's almost similar to like Dover's back straightaway in a way. It's very similar in that aspect that it just gets really thin there off the corner, and if a driver bounces off that inside wall and goes back onto the track, it's usually just going to stack up and create a huge incident.
We had a host of drivers come down pit road here under this yellow, so at this point in time, looks like 10 drivers have not made a pit stop since the drop of the green flag. Those fresh tires, though, they're starting to creep up closer and closer to the front. Will Barbachelata going to be rolling off 10th, Gavin Fitzgerald in 11th. They were both on pit road about 15 laps ago, and they were making some very good momentum, very good progress through the field on that last run there just before the third caution came out.
Yeah, these cautions have been very timely for those guys because they've gotten a couple laps on the tires, make up a couple spots, then they get this caution to cool their tires back down. So their tires are not even close to even yet to these front drivers here. So they might be able to get up here and take the lead on this run, depending on how long the run goes. As the pace car pulls down pit road once again, and Nicholson, with another good restart, should be able to drop down in front of his teammate Henry. But now he has Heller up here as well, and Barkuski. We have 4 25-11 drivers in the top 5 at this point.
I think that might have been by design as well, this strategy to stay out, have the track position, and then be able to work together with people you're comfortable with, your teammates. We do have a truck that just merged back onto the racetrack when we went back green. That is the one of Brent Kincott, so even the race leader, Nathan Nicholson, doesn't have clean air to the nose right now.
Yeah, everybody running with that dirty air at the moment, but some good battles right back here. Baker trying to get his way back to the front as well. He's up to 11th, which is really impressive after his spin. He's gotten back up here, battling with Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald gets in the back of Nicewanger, gives him a little bit of a bump. Looking to get past him. Nicewanger throws the block, and TCB gets in the back of the 14 of Fitzgerald. They keep it straight for now.
Had about 3 or 4 trucks that were fishtailing off of turn 4 within about 10 truck lengths of each other up ahead. Will Barbachelata, Hunter Brittle battling for 7th, and Barbachelata nearly looped it off of 4, so some nice saves right there.
Fitzgerald going to finally get underneath the 49 of Nicewanger. He's going to clear him coming out of turn 4. Gets a little loose off the corner, but he's going to continue on. Now does Baker follow him through.
Tries to set him up here through 1 and 2. Right to the back bumper. Probably will show the nose here in 3 and 4. Nicewanger on older Goodyears. Tyrell Baker has about 15 laps on the tires currently on his 0.25, so he's got a little bit more speed, especially through the exit of the corner onto the straightaway. Not able to make the move just yet, and up ahead, got ourselves a battle for 2nd place. Christopher Heller says, excuse me, teammate, he's going to bypass Zach Henry. Now he'll set his sights on Nathan Nicholson for the race lead.
Yeah, Heller has been slowly moving up since the start of this race. He started 13th, and it's taken him almost 40 laps, but now he's up here to the 2nd place position. Christopher Heller looking to maybe snag a victory here today, passing his teammate of Zachary Henry, but Bransky, he's trying to get up here too, the 0-3 machine. He's trying to make this return with authority in that 0-3 machine, trying to go to victory lane, and Barkuski and Barbachelata right behind him as well. Barbachelata going to send it in 3 and 4.
Oh, they're going to spin. Barbachelata gets together with Barkuski. They both go to the apron of 4 and save it. Barbachelata merging back on the track. Everyone scatters down the front straightaway. How we are not under yellow, I have no idea. That was a lot to take in, and now RJ Williams.
RJ Williams is going to save it right there on the inside. They're going to drive around him. Shane Terrian going to make it 3 wide here. Oh my goodness, a very exciting lap right there for sure. And the whole lineup is kind of changed up again after that.
That was way too much to take in right there in the span of a mile. Gracious.
Well, up here at the front, Fitzgerald continues to move up. He's up to the 6th position now. The number 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald in that giant Tiger Toyota has been making moves to the front in the 14. Spun out earlier. He's on fresh tire, not fresh tires, but he's on fresher tires up here at this point, up to the 6th position, trying to get to Brittle now to take over 5th.
He is the highest right now on the newer tires. 26 laps on those Goodyears as compared to 41 laps for the top 5 ahead of him. And he is going to have to make up quite a bit of ground here if he does complete the pass on Hunter Brittle, because it's going to be about a second and a half between him and the next truck on his hit list, which would be the 03 of Jake Grimsky.
Henderson turns himself into the wall, it looked like. Him and Barbagelata. I'll have to take another look at that, but it looked like he tried to clear the number 22 off the corner and barely nicked him, and that engine is blown on the 37 machine. You hate to see it.
That is bad news right there for Elliott Henderson.
Have to take another look at that incident, but you hate to see Henderson in the wall, a very strong race car driver looking to get another championship here in the Great Lakes Truck Series, but this season has not gotten off to the start that he wanted.
But Michael Barbagelata there, after the 37 got up into the wall, a little bit of a kickflip wheelie there. Front wheels of his truck came off the racing surface.
We're going to take a look at the incident right here. You see the 37 of Henderson. It looks like he tries to get in front of Barbagelata, and I think I heard Henderson on the radio talking about Barbagelata not being close enough to the wall, and I would agree with that. Barbagelata way far away from the wall coming off of the corner, but it looked like Henderson also did come up a little bit off of the corner.
And then behind them, you had 27 get a hit from behind when they were stacking up. So I don't know if that's going to affect those two trucks for the remainder of this race. Not certain who that was that got into the back of him. Trying to see if I can pinpoint who it was.
I couldn't make out who that was in that black and red machine who got into the back of Barbagelata, trying to avoid that. But it looks like they made contact a couple of times on the front straightaway after that incident. Here's Eric Kep's view. He barely made it through. Mr. Pink here. You're going to watch it here from his onboard, and he just barely squeaks by the 37. Great reactions from Eric Kep.
Well, we've got a lot of fast trucks that have got damage in some way, shape, or form in the early stages of this race, and about 2 or 3 of them that, based off of their performances in the season opener at Daytona, and obviously how we saw the speeds they were able to get in practice, kind of pegged them as ones to watch, potentially to take the checkered flag here tonight. But the Rock's taking no prisoners here, and not even halfway through this race.
No prisoners whatsoever. Been a crazy start to the race. And we have a new leader here. The giant Tiger Toyota of Gavin Fitzgerald's gotten up to the race lead here. He has stayed out underneath this caution flag. He did have those semi-fresh tires, but at this point, his tires are around 20 laps older than Heller on back. And Nathan Nicholson on back.
The first 2 trucks that we saw spun out here today, Gavin Fitzgerald and Tyrell Baker, right now first and second for this restart. So on the flip side, you've got drivers that have had misfortune, but they've turned it around.
You know, they've really turned their day around. The 14 and the 025 of Fitzgerald and Baker up here 1-2 thanks to their tire strategy. Currently Fitzgerald on the oldest tires at the moment, and then Baker on slightly fresher tires, and then Cottle, Jump, Kep, Gonzalez, Moore, Potter, and Stagner. Those drivers have fresher tires than both these guys. But then you go to Nicholson on back, and those drivers just came off of pit road. So we'll have to see how this strategy works out for them. I feel like this will be a good strategy for them if they maybe get a caution in 10 or 15 laps, I'm thinking.
Well, let's take a look and compare the 2 strategies we saw in the early going of this race. Ashton Lawson gave up the lead to come down pit road, restarted back in the 25th position, whereas Nathan Nicholson decided to stay out a lot longer, came to pit road just a few laps ago. He's restarting up in the 10th spot, so a lot less trucks to have to deal with if you're Nathan Nicholson. So obviously, just based on that alone, the winning strategy right now looks like it's in favor of the 99.
We'll have to see how it turns out throughout the day. Getting close to halfway here on lap number 46 of 148 here at Rockingham here. Caution number 4. Gavin Fitzgerald going to lead him to the green flag as the iRacing pace car about to pull down Pit road here coming out of turn 4. And Fitzgerald's going to enter the restart zone. And the green flag is waving for the 14 of Fitzgerald. A great restart. He's going to bring Cottle with him on the inside. And the 63 of Kep, possibly. These three are teammates.
Really good launch, and I think that right there, what you're talking about with having the teammates lined up on the inside line, that was why he chose the bottom, so that way he could count them down to when he was going to accelerate, catch Tyrell Baker off guard.
Oh, Heller's almost losing it in the corner, and they're reacting behind him. There goes Heller. Heller's going to spin. Shane Nicewanger, Brandon Barkuski. No caution, they're in the grass.
All took place below that yellow line, considered off the racing surface, so 3 trucks in trouble, but no yellow flag to save them as yet.
You hate to see this for 2511 Racing. I've had 5 drivers up here battling for the lead at a point. You've already had Gonzalez get into an incident. You had Heller get into an incident. Now Barkuski as well into an incident. 2511, a lot of carnage for them today so far.
And I would say that Barkuski got the worst out of that exchange, got sandwiched between Nicewanger and the inside wall protecting pit road. So we'll see just exactly what he's able to do here in terms of maybe riding this out until a caution comes down, or will he have to come down pit road? Will his hand be forced to repair that damage?
We'll have to see what happens, but the battles continue throughout the field. Here you see Ashton Lawson in the 24 trying to snap some spots back. Very close racing here with Matt Daniels, driver of the number 5. McClellan trying to get to his high side, almost contact off the corner. And the number 5 of McDaniels is going to move to the inside. And here comes Barba Gelada in the 27. Jake Miller in the number 4 right behind him. Cody Giles as well. He has a fast truck. We haven't mentioned him yet tonight.
Guys are back as what we would call in the eye of the storm, though, trying to make sure that they don't tear up their equipment battling with each other, and also keeping an eye on what's going on ahead of them. A lot of trucks in some good battles right now. Zachary Henry on fresh tires trying to make his way around Ryan Potter. That'd be for a spot inside the top 10, P8. He just got around Hunter Brittle the lap before. Brittle's going to actually battle back on the bottom, almost into the back bumper of the 12. Gave him a little shot there off a turn 2 down the belly.
Lawson and Daniels get together, and Lawson's day goes from bad to worse. The driver, the number 24, the season 4 champion, he has exited the event, has towed himself to pit road at least in the number 24 machine. Very heavy damage to that 24 after contact. The number 5 of Daniels, it looked like he lost it going into the corner, and Daniels just had nowhere to go. Going to take another look at this incident.
I think there was a little bit of contact between himself and Tyler McClellan, 95, just at the start-finish line. And then from the start-finish line all the way over to turn 1, Ashton was trying to save that race truck.
Yeah, very heavy damage to that machine. You hate to see it for Lawson. Season 4 champion, looking to maybe snag another championship this season. We're going to take an onboard look at the 95 of Tyler McClellan and see what he saw with this front stretch exchange with him in the 24. You see him on the inside of the 24, very close racing, and it looks like they're both just kind of going for the same spot on the front straightaway there and just make contact.
Been seeing a lot of that here in the early going of this race. Drivers not giving each other a lot of room down the front stretch. We've seen a couple of incidents where some gap whack has come into play. Obviously not a lot of space given in that exchange, and this most recent caution, same thing. Drivers wanting the same piece of real estate. I don't know if they're trying to side draft, if they're trying to pinch going into turn 1, but it's obviously not working out in a lot of these drivers' favor. The result of at least 2, maybe 3 of the 5 cautions we've had so far.
Yeah, some very heavy incidents so far for these caution flags. Very heavy damage to the cars that have been involved in these cautions so far. Caution number 5 here on lap number 54 of 148 here at Rockingham Speedway. Race number 2 of the Great Lakes Truck Series season. And I think next week is going to be a complete change up as well. First week we went to Daytona Super Speedway. This week we're at Rockingham. Next week we go to the streets of Long Beach. Now that should be a fun one, Seth.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that street course is going to play its part into a finishing order, because I'm looking right now, you compare last week to this week in terms of finishing results to running order. Lewis Woodall won last week at Daytona. He's currently out of the race. Ashton Lawson, just involved in that last caution, was the runner-up finisher, and we saw Brandon Barkuski into the inside wall there in the infield under that last green flag run. He was the third place finisher. So, we got some new faces up here towards the front that we didn't have finishing up towards the front last week at Daytona. So I don't know if this is a case of, like I said at the beginning, where these are two entirely different racetracks. So you've got certain drivers that like the super speedway and certain drivers that like the mile racetrack, or if it's drivers that might be trying to get some Daytona redemption, gain back a lot of the points they lost last week.
I think that's the goal for a lot of these guys, because I know a lot of these guys lost a lot of points last week at Daytona, and they're trying to get some of those points back at a track like Rockingham. Daytona, you can usually just throw it away as a wild card. If you win it, that's great. If you end up wrecking out, that's kind of expected. It's Daytona, Talladega. It's kind of a wild card sort of race. You go into Rockingham, more of a skillful sort of race, and try to snag some of those points back. Get the one to go, it looks like here.
You got Josh Cottle, who is going to be leading us back to green in that 32 truck. I mean, you talk about trying to make a comeback from a poor performance at Daytona. 37th is where he finished in the season opener, did not make it to the conclusion. And we saw him kind of fade outside of the top 10 in the early stages, but he's played strategy really well. Now up here at the front of the field, obviously off sequence with a lot of the drivers behind him, but he's had a pretty stellar truck, despite the fact that we saw him have a little bit of problem hooking the bottom in the first 10-15 laps or so.
Cottle up here at the front. Fitzgerald actually came down pit road, one of the few guys that came down pit road and got 4 fresh Goodyears on his machine. He's back, and it looks to be the 19th position in the number 14 machine. He'll have to work his way back to the front once again. So Josh Cottle in the 32 will be leading this field to the restart here, coming into the restart zone. A good restart from the 32, and his teammate in the 63, Eric Kep, is ready. He's going to go past Baker, and Nicholson's going to try to make it 3 wide. Going into turns 1 and 2, thinks better of it, drops back, and Baker going to try to battle Kep on the high side, but he's not going to get off the corner that strong. Nicholson's going to put the pressure on, dives to the inside, going into 3 and 4.
Took advantage of that loss of momentum by Tyrell Baker off of 2 to cross him over down Thunder Valley. Can he get the power down off of turn 4 is the question. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to just yet. Might have to tuck back in line. Nope, he's still to that left rear quarter panel on the 025.
Nicholson and Baker going back and forth, but Nicholson will finally clear him off of 2. Baker's going to fall back to 4th, and now Nathan jumps there in the 5th spot. Here comes Gonzalez. Gonzalez with all that damage on that number 3 machine, looking to still intimidate this front 5.
Hey, it don't have to look pretty if it's still running up to speed. Jordan Gonzalez trying to reel in what's now a side-by-side battle for the 4th position. That 29 of Nathan Jump. Nice move there out of turn 2, but now he gets crossed over by Tyrell Baker. They're back and forth in right now for P4.
Back and forth for P4 as the battle's now on for 2nd. Nicholson has gotten to Kep, and he's trying to get his number 99 machine underneath the 63. Wasn't quite able to get underneath them in 3 and 4. He's going to reassess and try to attack again coming out of 1 and 2. Here you see him on your screen.
Gave a shot there in the center of 1 and 2 to Eric Kemp, trying to unsettle that 63 truck. Not able to do it just yet. Now he'll try to hook the bottom through 3 and 4. Gets a nice run. He's going to maybe get him in the left rear quarter panel. That was close off of turn 4.
I think he's just letting him know he's there, Seth. He gives him another bump, it looked like, into 1 and 2. That was awfully close, and he's going to get to the inside of the 63 of Kep, and he's going to clear him with ease this time around. Kep probably realized he wanted to get by and just backed off, and he's going to jump himself in front of Nathan Jump.
And what is it that driver Morse code? 1 bump means I'm there. 2nd bump means you better get out of the way because the next one you're not going to like. So Kemp says, all right, I'm not going to take that 3rd bump.
Yeah, the 3rd bump doesn't usually end up being a bump, Seth.
And now Nicholson, really good speed there down the back straightaway, going to close in for the race lead. If he can get to the inside of Josh Cottle, it's going to be a no contest. 14-lap fresher tires on the 99 compared to the 32.
Baker's struggling on the inside here. Bransky's going to get past him with ease. Now here comes Henry in the number 12 machine on the outside. Gonzalez has lost a couple of spots recently. He's back here as well. Baker and Gonzalez might be dropping a little bit to these fresher tires. Here comes Kyle Hall in the 87. He's making moves up here to the front as well.
Interesting, you're seeing the fresher tires have to go up to that 2nd groove. I don't know if that's by choice or if that's the preferred line for these drivers. You had Tyrell Baker kind of yielding there on the bottom, losing a couple of those spots. Now he jumps up to the top, and there is Hall trying to get 2 for the price of 1 through 1 and 2. He's going to make the pass, I think, on that 3 truck of Jordan Gonzalez, not quite able to make the pass on Tyrell Baker, and he's got RJ Williams in the 21 right behind him.
The first driver on this semi-fresh tires looking to make a move for third. That's the number 10 of Hunter Brittle. Hunter Brittle looking to get himself possibly a victory here tonight. Always a very competitive and consistent race car driver, but looks to have some speed here tonight. Going to the inside of the number 29 and Nathan Jump, looking to move himself into the third position. The next driver on those fresh tires is Jake Bransky in the 6th spot.
Jump very wide there off of turn 4, but it's going to get some nice straightaway speed as a result. Almost cleared Hunter Brittle going into turn 1, but Brittle, look at how he's able to get back to the throttle through the center of the corner. That's the key, and caution's out. It's Kyle Hall in the 87.
Hall was running so well in that 87 machine, was coming through the field, was looking for a good run here tonight. You hate to see it. Still has time to make up that time. We've already seen it from Fitzgerald. We've already seen it from Baker that you can get yourself back to the front after an incident, but here around halfway through this race, we're gonna have to see what happened here with the number 87 of Hall in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm not certain exactly what happened, but I can tell you he was back in that little wad of trucks. There were about 7, 8 trucks all clumped together, and you had old tires versus fresh tires. So I almost wonder if that might have led to the contact.
Yeah, just varying strategies. It looked like Fitzgerald got on the inside. He had McClellan on the outside. He was between a giant tiger and a black cat, and the giant tiger slid up. It looks like a little bit going into 1 and 2 and got him in the door. Gonna have to take another look at it here. You see the 87 in the middle, and yeah, it looks like Fitzgerald just slides up just a little bit. But I've mentioned it. It's just so hard to get into these corners. It's real easy to slide up, especially when you're in a 3 wide situation. It just makes for very close quarter racing.
We saw that happen earlier on in this race when Steven Sims was on the bottom of a 3 wide going into turn 1 and had that shallow entry, just could not make the corner. Same deal there for the 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald. So you have to wonder now that we're 2 for 2 of that truck on the inside line not being able to make the entrance of turn 1. If a driver finds themselves in that situation again, obviously I would think the wise thing to do would be back out, because so far they've been unsuccessful.
Once again, it looks like we had some more various strategies when it came to pit road. Most of the field came down pit road, but there were some drivers that stayed out as well. It looked like that whole top 11 had stayed out. Nicholson all the way back to the number 60 machine of Ryan Potter. Looks like they all stayed out underneath this caution flag.
And no surprise, we knew this coming into a track like Rockingham. It was going to really come down to tire strategy rather than fuel strategy. Up until this point, I've not really been keeping track of when drivers came to pit road as far as fuel numbers, because I don't necessarily think that we're going to see fuel be a concern for these guys in the second half of this race. It's going to come down to those good years, how fresh they are, how much grip you've got in the closing stages.
Yeah, it's all going to be about tires, tires, tires. And the way the tires are looking right now, you have Nicholson up here and Brittle and Bransky. They all pit around 25 laps ago. But then you have Potter, you have Sims, Barkuski. Those drivers back there in the back half of the top 10, they took tires around 15 laps ago. So they have slightly fresher tires than Nicholson. And then, of course, 11th on back being Nathan Jump on back. They all have fresh Goodyears. Just got him on pit road just now. So we're going to once again see the various strategies work themselves out.
And all these cautions coming out too, we have to remember that with each caution, there's a driver that gets put on the lead lap with the free pass. At this point in time, we've got 34 drivers that are still on the lead lap here. So, a lot of drivers still in the hunt for good finishes, and a lot of points and positions that can still be lost by our front runners if they run into trouble.
A lot of things could still happen in this race. We've seen it happen. We've seen some crazy incidents already in this race. Some really good drivers taken out and trying to get themselves back to the front. And we're just have to see it continue to play out throughout the race. It's been a very intriguing race, to say the least, here so far.
Definitely has, and I think it's just going to continue to get more intriguing, because as we get closer to the end of this race, drivers are going to ask a lot more of their trucks, and we've seen up until this point. It seems like they've been asking quite a bit already, and sometimes the truck has responded and sometimes it hasn't. Another thing that's going to be interesting as well is to see, when we get closer to the end of this race, just how far are you willing to go to make a pass? Because we've seen some drivers kind of give the message of, hey, I'm here, let me by. We've also seen other drivers that have driven it in and the truck hasn't stuck. They've slid up into somebody. So it's going to be a lot of risk reward, I think, here towards the closing stages, as Nicholson going to get us back under the green. Seems like every time that a truck has been the control car heading here to the restart, they have gotten tremendous launches into turn 1.
A tremendous launch from the 99 of Nicholson. Keep an eye on that 14 of Fitzgerald. Oh, almost an incident back there. Looked like Fritz almost ran around. He was able to save it in the 31 machine, but really keep your eye on that 14 of Fitzgerald. Out of these drivers up here at the front, he's the farthest up out of the drivers that took tires around 15 laps ago. Oh, caution's out again on the speedway. Caution number 7.
Turn 4, it looks like.
Like Rod Foz now in the number 16 Mobile 1 machine, and he went around. I'm not sure what happened there. It looks like Foz now. He went around in that 16 machine. Let's take a look at this.
Help. 32 of Josh Caudle, if I'm not mistaken, got him there and through the center of 3 and 4.
Here we are going to take a look at the replay. You see Foz now on the outside of King Caudle on the inside right here. And it looks like Foz now tries to cut down on Caudle. Maybe didn't know that he wasn't clear and got into him. Giles got some decent damage too and lost it again. Oh my goodness.
Ashton Lawson cannot catch a break. 16 laps down already with that extended stay on pit road, and now is a lap truck getting even more damage.
If I were his crew chief, I would just tell him to go out there and hit the pace car, because unfortunately he said about everything here today in that number 24 machine. Here you see it. He just gets a bump, it looks like, from Hall trying to slow down and slides right into the side of him. Comes right down pit road. He's like, I know the drill. I'm going to get repairs.
Going to put another driver on the lead lap as well, I do believe. So we're going to have 35 drivers on the lead lap. Aiden DuPont should be the recipient of the free pass. We've seen just about every area of the racetrack now bring about a caution as well. We saw it over in turn 1. We've seen the back straight.
I've seen about every part of the racetrack involved in some sort of caution. It's like we've said, it's a very difficult racetrack here at Rockingham. It's not a short track, but in a way, it kind of races like one in a way, because it's just such aggressive racing and just close proximity racing. It's usually very aggressive, a lot of contact, and it feels like a short track when you race here, but obviously a lot quicker. This high banking, when you really get down to it, has the aggression levels of a short track.
And see, that's where you run into trouble with the fact that it's such high speed, but got the characteristics and the fundamentals of short track racing, because that means that you have to make moves a lot quicker. Your reactions have to be a lot quicker, and a lot of times the drivers just aren't ready to be able to react as quickly as they would at a slower speed short track.
I'd like to give a little paint scheme spotlight to that 5th place driver. There you see him, DJ Stagner, driver of that 64 machine. I kind of want him to go to victory lane at the moment. We on Twitter, I see a lot of drivers always talking about Mickey Mouse win, Mickey Mouse that. What about a Minnie Mouse win? Let's get a Minnie Mouse win over here. DJ Stagner in that Minnie Mouse Toyota, making his name up here in the front.
I mean, we had that feel-good story in the Daytona race last week with Lewis Woodall. I mean, let's keep the story going with another underdog story today.
And there you see the Minnie Mouse Toyota. It'd be interesting to see a Minnie Mouse win here in the Great Lakes Truck Series. DJ Stagner currently running in that 5th position. Stagner, not a usual suspect here in the Great Lakes Truck Series, but whenever Stagner shows up, seems to have at least top 10, if not top 5 speed. Looking to maybe turn that into a victory here tonight in that 64 machine. And looking around those cars around him, he might be one of the few vehicles without any damage.
I think you're right, and you look as well at where all the drivers up here inside the top 10 rolled off the grid. This isn't your typical you get good starting track position, you're going to keep good starting track position. I mean, we've got about a half dozen drivers up inside of the top 10 that didn't even start this race inside of the top 20. TJ Stagner was back in 34th. Ryan Potter was back in 38th. Steven Sims is up here right now in the 9th position. He was back in 37th. So we got a lot of the drivers that started out back that are up here towards the front now heading into the second half of this race.
It has to do with the mixture of strategy and just all the incidents we've had, all the drivers that have gotten taken out, and all the various strategy when it comes to tires. It's just really put this whole race for a loop. We're going to go green flag racing once again here on lap number 76. Caution number 7. Nathan Nicholson going to lead him to the green flag on the inside. He'll have Fitzgerald behind him, Hunter Brittle on his outside, and Bransky right behind the number 10 of Brittle. The pace car pulls down pit road, and the 99 of Nicholson's going to lead him to the green. It looks like Fitzgerald gave him a shot right there before the green.
We also had the 29 of Nathan Jump. I believe he was the white truck that was on the apron there coming to the start-finish line. He just dropped to the back, so I'm not certain what was going on there with him. He's now back outside of the top 30.
Great start from Nicholson here. He has a huge gap on Brittle here from the start. Here's Stagner. He's trying to make the pass on the number 03 of Jacob Bransky. Can he complete the pass here in turns 1 and 2? He won't be able to clear him quite yet. Shane Terry and right there as well. Here comes Barba Gelada.
Yeah, we heard Shane Tyrion wasn't exactly all that excited about this race. Not a whole lot of experience with trucks at Rockingham, but doing a good job right now. Hasn't been without incident here today, though. We saw him back in either the second or third caution, spinning down the back straightaway, hence the rear end damage you see him sporting just between those yellow rookie stripes. But right now holding his own. And how about Ryan Potter in that 60 truck making the move there on Jake Bransky? That's another guy that started way out in the back that is now up inside of the top 10.
Yeah, Potter making it work right now in that number 60 machine. He's came through the field, has moved his way up to the 6th position. Definitely in a whole group of unusual suspects up here at the front. Drivers you don't usually see up here at the front battling it out. Of course, you have Nicholson up here, but drivers you don't usually see up here. Brittle up here competing for the lead. Fitzgerald, Stagner, Terry, and Potter. Drivers you don't usually see up here competing for the victory.
And they're holding their own pretty well also. You know, these are some of the guys that are on the, I'll put this in air quotes, fresher tires. There's only about maybe 9-10 laps difference between all of these guys on the wear they have on their Goodyears. And, you know, nobody right now is flying by anybody else inside of the top 6, top 7.
And the first guy on like the super fresh tires is Baker right now, and he's going to make the move past Bransky for 8th. He has Williams right behind him, who's also on equal tires. They're making their moves through the field at the moment.
Bransky's going the wrong way right now on those older tires. RJ Williams going to slide by for P9. Eric Kempf looking to break into the top 10 there, but he's got his hands full with the 95 of Tyler McClellan.
McClellan has had a fast truck here tonight, but just hasn't gotten that track position. Kempf shuts the door, and McClellan dives to the inside.
McClellan taking no prisoners there as he will clear, I believe, off of turn 4. Yes, he will. Oh, man, there is such a tight battle going on behind, though. 3 wide. Ross Brockman's in the middle of this. Steven Sims there in the 6.
And Fritz with a great run off the corner, but then gets the wall. He's going to go spinning to the inside. Sims in the wall. Gonzalez. Looks like that might have been the one machine of King Cott was involved as well.
6 of Sims also collected up. And, oh, we got another truck that's now spinning towards the inside wall a little bit further up. I think that's the 28 of Shiflett.
Another accident on this back straightaway. There you see the 28 Miller Lite machine of James Shiflett. Pretty decent damage on the front end of that machine.
And Briar Fritz pounded that outside wall a ton off of turn 2.
Yeah, it looked like Fritz had a great run off the corner, but maybe a little too good of a run. Just got up into the wall awfully hard and just bounced right off the wall in a very close race up here at the front. We're gonna take a look at the replay here. You're gonna see Briar Fritz And that yellow and green 31 on the high side just snags the wall awfully hard, gets down into Sims. Then Gonzalez ends up getting up into the one of King Kong. Looked like Rodriguez was involved as well. I didn't see that the first time. Matthew Rodriguez, Emrod in the 57 machine also went around.
Yeah, so about 5-6 trucks collected up in this one.
Are you going
Like
to
the one
see?
of Brent Kincaid. I'm not certain if he just wasn't able to refire that one truck or not, but he was still sitting there for quite a while at the scene of the accident on the back straightaway.
From that first look, I couldn't tell if Rodriguez just looked like he might have just lost it out of the corner, just trying to slow up for the accident. I don't think anybody was right behind him. I don't think he
Yeah, it's
had any
like I
help.
said, a lot of those other guys back in that other incident on the back straightaway just snap around to the left when they slam on the brakes. It's like those rear brakes just don't want to take there. You have to kind of pump the brakes to make sure the thing doesn't snap on you.
You're gonna see it back there, and yeah, I just saw it. Yeah, Rodriguez he just spun it all on his own, hit the brakes, and just immediately spun it out, just like you said, Seth. And hate to see it for Rodriguez because he has a pretty fast truck. It seems like at least a top 15 machine. You're gonna see it off the corner, gets on the brakes, and just immediately spins it out to the inside.
That's a heartbreak there for Breyer Fritz. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys that have been up at the front at some point in this race that have run into problems and now find themselves back in the garage area. But you talked about maybe getting too good of a run off of turn 2. I know we keep likening this racetrack to Dover, but really there are so many similarities between these two particular racetracks. It's the same deal at Dover where you feel like you can get back to the throttle a little sooner than you would expect and carry that speed off the corner. Then the truck doesn't want to turn. It just goes straight off of 2 or 4. Next thing you know, you're into the outside wall. Very typical to what we just saw there out of the 31 at Breyer Fritz.
Yeah, that turn 2 effect really happens at Dover and here at Rockingham. You come off that corner and when you're in the middle of the corner, you just feel like you can hit the gas. You have so much grip and you feel like you can get to the gas so much sooner. You get to that gas and all of a sudden when you get to turn 2, it's like that turn 2 wall just kind of jumps at you.
Tight off of 2, loose off of 4. That's why these drivers are not having a fun time here today at Rockingham, because no two corners seem to be alike in the span of a lap.
I'm actually hearing from Matthew Rodriguez that he might have went around due to his brake bias, and that's not too surprising. I was doing some practice here just last night, and I was running around maybe like 59 brake bias, and some of my teammates, they were running at 50% brake bias. So it's a very low brake bias, so enough brake that could definitely send you around.
We're into the second half of this race. Garage area is beginning to fill up. Breyer Fritz, the 8th driver that is now behind the wall. Looks like we've got 30 drivers now on the lead lap when we get ready to go back green. Elliot Henderson being the last of those, and a lot of the drivers that we saw collected up in that incident came down pit road, did their repairs, and they're all going to be restarting back outside of the top 20.
This restart's going to be led by Shane Tarian in the 38 machine on the inside. He's going to get a great restart. One of the best restarts I think we've seen all day. In the 60 machine of Potter tries to jump down in front of Baker. He's unable to. Keep in mind, Baker has the freshest tires out of these drivers on the front. He just took tires around 15 laps ago.
Made that pass look easy there out of turn 2, did Tyrell Baker. Now he's going to set his sights on what we've been told is Barney the Tundra. That's the name of the chassis on that purple FRN car, and Ryan Potter clobbered the outside wall of turn 4. Fortunately, the wall straightened him out, but there's a lot of damage on the right side of that 60 truck.
Oh, almost an incident right behind him. Ross Brockman slid all the way up the track. Nicewater gave him plenty of room. Luckily enough, they're going to continue straight, but some very heavy racing here around the 10th position, as now they're going to approach Potter. Potter's on the older tires. He's on older tires than these drivers behind him.
Fitzgerald!
Fitzgerald's spinning. It looks like the 03 of Bransky, Barkuski, and they're going to wreck through victory lane.
And again,
he's not happy with Bransky. It looked like turned right into him.
Again, this is all taking place down in the infield below that yellow line, so no caution and a battle for the lead. Looks like it will be exchanged off of turn 4. Tyrell Baker to the point.
And Fitzgerald's right in front of these guys coming onto the racetrack. There you see Gavin Fitzgerald right in front of him, right there. Fitzgerald trying to stay on the lead lap, but he's going to dive to the inside. He's actually going to let them all by. That has to be tough for Fitzgerald. Has a really fast truck and got caught up in that incident.
Landscape of the entire top 5 completely different from what it was in the beginning stage of this race. Tyrell Baker had to overcome the spin. He's now back up towards the front, leading this race. Shane Tyrion in second, RJ Williams there in third. Tyler McClellan, who has been maybe one of the most aggressive drivers in terms of side drafting and pinching today, and it's worked out in his favor. He's now up to fourth, and Eric Kempf has been very quiet here today. Slowly, methodically has worked his way into the top 5.
And this race has kind of taken an interesting turn, a turn I didn't really expect. In a way, it's kind of almost became like a super speedway in a way. All the different lead changes, all the various strategies, and it's really opened up the whole field. It's really anybody's race. I don't usually say that at a speedway or a short track, but here at Rockingham today, it's really anybody's race. It just really depends on when you take those tires and how you use them.
Talk about those tires. The fresh tires are currently in a battle for 8th position right now. Hunter Brittle holding that spot, looking back to Nathan Nicholson. So these are the two guys currently that are trying to work their way up through the field. They've got about 20 lap older tires in front of them, but a lot of traffic to maneuver.
A lot of traffic for some of these drivers to get by on those fresh Goodyears. Brittle getting loose on the inside. He's going to get it back straight and continue on. A good save from the number 10 machine, trying to work that inside and trying to keep these positions, but it's just so hard to get the run off the corner on that inside lane. You also just get so loose down there.
Nathan Nicholson going to clear him on the top side. Now he'll go to work on the 91 of Austin Moore. Just ahead, you've got the 38 of Shane Tyrion, who's starting to fall back on those older tires, so he's going to wad this group up. Henry, big hit there for the 12.
Rare mistake from the 12 of Zachary Henry, last season's championship 4 contender. Gets up into the wall. He's going to continue on for now. Falls behind his teammate of Nathan Nicholson.
And now you've kind of got the grenade
Oh,
effect.
Nicholson's going to split him. What a move.
Wow.
Nathan Nicholson, a phenomenal move. A power move from that 99 machine. Completely sends it in the corner with all the confidence. Got past both Kep and the 38 of Terrian. Move of the race so far right there.
Saw the space could fit a truck, and he went for it.
Up to the 4th spot now is Nathan Nicholson. In front of him is Tyler McClellan in 3rd. RJ Williams is in 2nd, and Tyrell Baker possibly has the biggest lead anybody's had all race. Almost a second advantage.
Oh, we got almost a spin. My gosh, what a save by Eric Kempf in the 63.
Henry reacted to it and put himself into the wall right there.
Had a lot of near cautions here today. I know we've been under the yellow flag 8 times today, but my goodness, we probably should have been under at least maybe twice that much with some of the incidents we've had, and these guys have had some tremendous saves.
Very hard and aggressive racing from these Great Lakes drivers here today at the Rock. You see Kep on the inside, trying to maybe get some of these positions back, or at least hang on to some of these spots. But he's going to lose a lot of spots on the inside. The high side just has so much more speed through the corners and off the corner.
That 2 of Matthew Durr, I should say. The Gatorade machine, currently piloted in the 7th position. He's got a challenge from behind from Zachary Henry, but you talk about trucks looking pristine with no damage. That truck doesn't look like he's been in a single incident today, and he's reaping the rewards of it now.
Yeah, Matt Durr making his way through. He's trying to get up here and compete for a victory. Always a consistent driver, Matt Durr, looking to maybe snag a victory here today. Can he do it? Some of these drivers on fresh tires are coming quick.
27 of Will Barbagelata right now trying to get by Shane Tyrion. That'd be for 8th. He'll make that pass off of turn 2. Right now, I'm keeping my eye on the 99 of Nathan Nicholson because he got around Tyler McClellan a couple of laps ago for 3rd, and he can see the top 2 out the windshield.
Baker's been falling off the last couple of laps. Williams has driven up to his bumper. Now he's making a move to the inside for the race lead. Here comes RJ Williams trying to get to the inside and unable to get his nose in there, but Nicholson's going to be at these two's bumper within the next lap. And
Oh, we got a spinner. Matthew Durr, we were just talking about the great run he was having, and he has looped it around. Looks like it's on the back straightaway.
Commentator curse in full effect. And it looked like he took Zachary Henry with him. It looked like he might even flip the car over, the number 12. The number 12 machine.
You would be correct. 12 did go up and over. Fortunately, landed back on all four wheels, but wild ride there for Zach.
Oh my goodness, a hard hit. And I was mentioning it earlier, it's been a super tough day for 2511 Racing. At this point, we've seen all of their drivers get into an incident except for Nathan Nicholson and that number 99 machine. All of their drivers have gotten into a massive incident. We're going to take a look at the onboard of Zach Henry.
And Kyle, you touched on it. Like a short track, but much higher speeds, and that's why we ended up having the 12 truck go over. At just the right angle with that amount of speed down Thunder Valley, up and over.
We had an incident under caution, too. It looked like Henry just spun out under caution as well. Slowing up for pit road, got into the back of Madalinas and spun it around. Zachary Henry, a driver you don't usually see make any mistakes, is having a very tough outing here today. Saw the replay right there, and Potter stops for the incident.
Yeah, there were a lot of them that came down pit road there, and it just wadded them all up. Chain reaction, and Zach Henry was kind of the last truck in that line. Just didn't react in time, and some more damage on that 12 truck. Don't know how much he really would have sustained that's going to affect his speed with that flip, but certainly you don't want to get damage around that front end area. Don't want to run the risk of engine overheating. Could certainly affect you with aero, make you a little bit tighter off the corner earlier.
So this is going to be interesting now. This is going to be the first time this has happened since the beginning of the race. Every single driver is on equal tires, except for Barbagelata. William Barbagelata stayed out here on 20-lap old tires. But Nicholson on back, everybody came down pit road. That's the first time that has happened all day. Everybody on equal tires.
What also makes it interesting is the timing of this yellow of when we will go back green, because we'll be somewhere in the vicinity of 40 laps to go, maybe even past that point. And remember, when we saw Nathan Nicholson and company played the strategy early on of not coming to pit road in the early portions of the race, they stayed out until about lap 38, lap 39. So we know drivers can make it at least 40 laps on a tank of fuel. If you're running up at the front here like Nicholson, Brittle, Moore, Tyrion, we know that probably Barbagelata with another caution, he'll come to pit road. But those guys right now, second on back through, let's say maybe 6th, 7th, 8th, have you made your final pit stop of the day? Are you now, regardless of when a caution comes out, if it comes out, have you kind of made your bet and said, all right, I'm keeping this track position with the tires I've got and allowing drivers maybe 8th place on back to be able to get some fresh tires if we get a late race yellow?
Yeah, I think at this point you kind of made your bet, and I think the only way we really see drivers maybe come down pit road is if we get another decent green flag run like we just had, maybe a 15, 20-lap run. I would probably expect most of the field, if not everybody, to come down pit road if they still have tires available. It's just such a difficult track on tires. So we'll have to see what happens at that point if we get there. But if we go green the rest of the way, I'm worried about a driver like Barbagelata making it to the finish. It's going to be close for him. I'm not sure if he'll make it on fuel.
I'm not sure he's going to make it on tires, to be honest. I mean, he's already out there for this restart, going to have 23 circuits on those Goodyears. He's going to be a sitting duck with all these fresh tires behind him.
Here comes the pace car down pit road, and Barbagelata leads him to the green flag. Green flag is out for Barbagelata, and he was not able to get going on those old tires. Might have spun him a little bit. That number 99, Nicholson's going to take the lead immediately on the high side, and you said it. Barbagelata's going to be a sitting duck at this point.
So now what do you do if you're Barbagelata? You weren't able to hold off the race leader. Everyone behind you is going to have a lot more grip than you do. how do you get out of their way safely? Because they're all going to be barreling down on you in these corners.
Yeah, they're barreling down on him already. Barbagelata on that high side. You just kind of keep your distance, I feel like, is the best you can do. And right now he's doing a great job on that high side of just
Oh,
getting
boy.
a spot. They're going to be
Little
3
wide.
I don't know if Barbagelata realizes they're 3 wide. Not much space. And Tyrion almost loses it.
That was close through 3 and 4. Barbagelata was pinned in behind the 27. Tyrion was getting loose on the inside line. They all keep the fenders on it and point in the right direction. And now Hunter Brittle trying to get around that 27. He got loose off of turn 2. So Barbagelata, at least for the time being, is able to keep second place on back in his rearview mirror.
And Barbagelata is really holding up this line, though. That last lap, Nicholson was a half a second quicker than this whole group of drivers. They're already almost 2 seconds back of the number 99 of Nicholson. Nicholson has the biggest lead anybody's had all race, so they need to get past this 27 immediately, whatever it takes.
Yeah, right now Barbagelata is Nathan Nicholson's best friend. He's kind of created a parachute for the rest of the field, kind of holding them back, allowing Nathan Nicholson to lay down those really good lap times and open up over a second and a half on the rest of the field. And now you got to wonder, if you're Nathan Nicholson at this point in time, are you secretly in the back of your mind hoping that this thing goes green to the end? Because you probably could preserve over a second and a half gap between you and the rest of the other trucks. We know that Nathan Nicholson's got a fast machine here today, maybe one of the fastest in the field.
Yeah, I feel like he is hoping that it goes green the rest of the way. Because if it goes green the rest of the way, I'm in my opinion, unless Nicholson makes a mistake, it's already won at this point. Especially with these drivers back here wasting their tires trying to get past Barbagelata.
I got some bad news for Nathan Nicholson. I don't think this thing's going to go green to the end. I'm seeing little groups of battles that are going on right now. You got them stacked up from 3rd back to around the 7th position. You've also got then a group of 5 back here from 6 to 11. So there's a lot of room for error going on right now. Double wide, almost looking 3 wide in some portions off of turn 4.
Very good racing throughout the field. Looks like Barbagelata is finally beginning to lose some spots. Tyrion got past him now. Nicewanger's gotten past him. Austin Moore looking to make the move on the 27 next to the inside.
Shane Nicewanger, great performance here today out of that 49 truck up inside of the top 5. Austin Moore right there with him. Both of these drivers gaining these positions on strategy, as Barbagelata way down to the inside there going into turn 3. Looks like he might have been going down there to yield to the faster trucks now that he realizes he's got 1st, 2nd, 3rd on by him. He's now just kind of letting the rest of the fresher tires pass him. His next driver that'll be on his back bumper, DJ Stagner, the 64.
Yeah, he's just losing 1 spot at a time. The driver of that number 27 machine doing a lot better of a job than I expected. I expected him to lose these spots fairly quickly, doing a good job of just maintaining where he's at.
You gotta wonder, what led to the call by Will Barbagelata to stay out there when everybody else came to pit road, because I'm looking maybe potentially at points. He finished 6th in the Daytona race and came into this race up inside the top 10. A lot of drivers ahead of him in points have struggled here this evening. Lewis Woodall, Ashton Lawson back in the garage area. Barkuski and Rodriguez have been involved in incidents here tonight, so maybe just trying to see if he can gain points on those drivers and head into next week's street course race as the points leader.
Yeah, Barbagelata just trying to get out of here with the most points as possible. Might not necessarily be focusing on a win, but with the damage on that number 27 machine and the strategy he's been pulling, William Barbagelata just trying to get the best finish he possibly can, the most points he possibly can.
Things have gotten rather spaced out, it looks like, at least amongst the top 4 or 5. Then you drop back here to Shane Nicewanger. He's got Josh Cottle pressuring him. Nathan Jump, RJ Williams, DJ Stagner, and they're in a pretty good 3-way battle for 7th place.
Yeah, some good battles here around 10th. Baker's been trying to come back through the field, one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack at the moment, just trying to come back through the field once again in that number 025, running in the 10th position. There you see him right there, right behind Stagner, trying to get these spots back that he had lost.
Boy, Quite tight off of turn 4 there. Coddle, nice wonger. Nathan jump. Throw a blanket over 4th place back to around 8th and 9th position. 32 got his left sides down on that yellow line. Gotta be careful you don't end up getting loose on the bottom and sliding up off of turn 2. We're settling into almost one of the longest runs we've had here today as well, so we're going to get an idea of who's the best at preserving those tires now as well, as you know, we're going to be seeing drivers in close proximity here trying to pull away from these little battles.
I was talking about it right before we went to green, that if we end up getting like a 15 or 20 lap green flag run, I can definitely see everybody on the track coming to take tires, because you still have enough time to make passes in that amount of time that you would have left in the race if we would get a caution right now, and you'd have enough wear on your tires to really justify coming down pit road to take those tires and risk your track position.
Last couple of laps, Kyle, Hunter Brittle has been a little bit quicker than Nathan Nicholson, about a 10th quicker per lap. You can see the gap is visibly closing. When we last looked, it was about 1.6 seconds when they were all mired behind the 27 of Barbagelata. It is now a second even between those two. So Hunter Brittle, he's reeling in the race leader. The problem is, though, we talk about how abrasive this track is on tires. How much is Hunter Brittle going to have left in terms of grip when eventually he catches the 99?
That's a big question. How much of these tires is he using up right now, and how much of the tire is Nicholson using? Is he really using the tire? Is he taking it easy? What is he exactly doing on the racetrack right now? But Brittle, if he can get up there and get this win, this would be huge for him. The last 2 seasons, he's been just one of those bubble guys, just battling around the bubble for that last playoff spot. If he can get the win here today, that would sure him up a playoff spot.
There's nothing like getting yourself a checkered flag early on in the season, getting that weight off your shoulders, and then just going to work the rest of the year before you get to the playoffs and just racking up those bonus points. Obviously, that's got to be in the back of the mind of the driver of the 10 truck, Hunter Brittle, as both he and Nicholson saw them make their way around the now lap machine of Aiden DuPont, 27 drivers in the lead lap, and we've got a lot more traffic up ahead here for the race leader. That's Elliot Henderson, I think, is up in this group. You've also got the 2 of Matthew Durr. There's a lot of trucks. Gavin Fitzgerald's lap truck is up here, so that's a lot of dirty air the 99 is having to deal with right now. We'll see if Brittle's able to take advantage.
Yeah, we're going to see if Brittle's able to make up some time through this traffic here. Nicholson getting past this traffic fairly quickly. He hasn't really lost any time to Brittle at the moment. Brittle's beginning to pass the lap cars now on the inside. He had to slow up a little bit after 2, it looked like, actually. Had a bad exit to the corner. It looks like Brittle's going to be the one that actually probably loses time through these lap cars, because he's already lost a couple of tenths.
Yeah, already lost about 2.5, 3 tenths right there, and he still has a couple of trucks that he has to make his way around. There's the 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald yielding to the top side. Elliot Henderson going to be the next truck that Brittle will have to deal with here. So Nicholson, for the time being, is clear of the traffic. Brittle still has a couple of trucks between himself and the race leader.
And Nicholson just worked that traffic perfectly. Now he just has to hope that a caution doesn't come out here in the late goings, as we're just under 20 laps remaining. Caution comes out. This driver right here, Tyrell Baker, he's going to be right back in the mix of things. He just has such a fast truck here tonight.
A couple of other drivers that really haven't had the spotlight here this evening. How about Ross Brockman there in that 52 truck? You know, most of these guys that we haven't talked about, they've got the pretty looking trucks right now, no damage on them. They've kept their noses clean, and that's why they're now running up inside of the top 10. Brockman right now in the 9th spot he's got a challenge coming from Tyrell Baker. Got a little bit held up behind the 00 of Aiden DuPont, and that's what's now made this 9th place battle. You also add in Nathan Jump, Jake Bransky into the mix.
Battles going on right back here, and it's getting to that point in the race where drivers' aggression levels are going to go up that much higher. Do we have the potential of another caution in this field?
Yeah, this is the point I was talking about now, where drivers are going to try and ask a little bit more out of their trucks, and if they weren't handling that good on 10-lap old tires, they're certainly not going to handle any better on 25, 30-lap old tires. So This is the point of the race where we might see drivers make slight mistakes that could lead to a late race caution and shuffle that strategy up once again.
Cottle seems to have some long run speed in that 32 machine. Been one of the faster trucks on the track the last couple of laps. The only problem is he's around 5 seconds back of Nathan Nicholson. So even if he kicks it into high gear right now, he probably will not catch up to Nicholson unless he gets a caution. Then just to update y'all on Hunter Brittle, he was a second back before we got to the lap traffic. Now he's 2 seconds back, and he's falling just a little bit to Nicholson each lap.
Yeah, that would say to me that he used up quite a bit of his Goodyear tire in trying to pass those lap machines. We know that obviously he had dirty air to the nose a lot longer than the 99 Nicholson did. Nicholson did a very masterful job of working his way through that traffic. I think he only caught one truck in a bad spot. Most of the other trucks he caught off of 2 or off of 4 and was able to use the straightaway to pass them.
A lot of speed in that number 99 machine, and really timed those passes correctly with those lap machines and didn't lose any time. Actually gained time on Hunter Brittle through those lap cars, and now at this point just has his fingers crossed for the remainder of this race, hoping on no more cautions. But Tyrell Baker, I know he's hoping on a caution. Bransky is as well. Bransky been putting down some good laps in the 0-3 machine. Actually just got past Baker last lap.
Also got a couple of other guys back there like Christopher Heller and Eric Kempf. We know that they've got fast trucks. We saw them up inside the top 5 at certain portions of this race, but a pit strategy has kind of mired them back outside of the top 10, just inside of the top 15. So they'd like to see another caution come out to maybe pick up a couple of spots on pit road.
Just over 10 laps remaining here at Rockingham. You see DJ Stagner moving his way into the top 5. He's going to make a pass on RJ Williams. Now sets his sights on Shane Tarian. Stagner and Cottle seem to be both really strong on this long run, putting down some of the fastest laps on the racetrack at the moment.
I think they are the 2 fastest trucks at this point in time, and so obviously they would have loved to have had another 30, 40 laps to be able to work with and maybe have a green flag pit stop to gain track position rather than 10 laps to go. That gives the advantage to Nathan Nicholson. Nathan Nicholson right now, though, he's into the mode of not even looking at the flag stand because he's afraid every time he comes off of turn 4, he's going to look up there and see the flagman waving the yellow flag over his hood. That's the last thing Nicholson wants to see right now is a caution.
He almost had it right there. It looked like Michael Barbagelata got up into the wall pretty hard. Almost got into Shiflett. He's going to continue on for now with Potter on his inside. But yeah, that's exactly what Nicholson's hoping for. If he can just make it through the rest of this race without a caution, he should be good. As long as he doesn't make any sort of major mistakes. He has Brittle around 2.5 seconds behind him at this point. He's comfortably faster than that number 10 of Brittle. Well, here comes Barbagelata. Like I said, I don't know if he was going to make it the rest of the way on fuel, and he's coming down pit road right now, and this is huge.
He's going to lose him a spot on the lead lap, at least for the moment, as Nicholson just now making his way out of turn 4. And you brought up that contact that went on between Michael Barbagelata and James Shiflett. I saw that smoke lingering there in 1 and 2 when I was focused on the race leader Nicholson. That's something that Nicholson's got to be aware of as well, that there are battles that are going on ahead of him of drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. And if a wreck takes place, he's got to make sure he maneuvers his way through that safely. We've seen a lot of drivers who have been caught up in incidents that have been either a corner or half a straightaway up ahead of them, getting on the brakes, sliding those rear tires and spinning around. So Nicholson has to keep himself aware of everything that's going on outside his windshield, even if it's not a battle for position.
Yeah, because currently only maybe 2 or 3 seconds in front of him. He has like 4 or 5 guys that are kind of battling it out a little bit. You have Michael Barbagelata, you have James Shiflett and Jordan Gonzalez and Ryan Potter back there, and they're battling it out a little bit, so they could possibly get into an incident. You never know what could happen.
There's still a long ways to go in this one, too, in terms of distance and the opportunity for a caution to come out. Before to go next time by. Unscheduled stop maybe for the 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald. I saw him peel off of turn 4. He still sits in his pit box. Tough break there for a guy who we saw out in front in the first half of this race.
Yeah, Fitzgerald had a really strong truck tonight. I just think he has too much damage on the number 14 machine. He did go a lap down. I think he might have even went a second lap down before he came down pit road.
Oh my gosh.
Brockman almost put Tarian up in the wall. Very close proximity racing right there with a couple laps remaining. Oh my goodness, this is getting crazy.
I saw the 52 on the inside of a 3 wide, and I thought we were going to have deja vu number 3 there into turn 1. Amazing job of not wrecking the 38 of Shane Tyrion, but that was nearly the caution Nicholson did not want to see.
Nicholson needs to run the 2 quickest laps of his life at this point.
He's got to try and run Q laps right now. He's got to try and make sure he gets back to that white flag as he's enjoying over 3 seconds back to Hunter Brittle, but that could completely evaporate if the yellow flag rears its ugly head here in this final mile.
He's coming around the track. He has a half a lap to go until he gets to the line. Will he make it to the start-finish line, or will we get a caution? What will we get, a white flag or a yellow flag? Here comes Barbagelata, by the way, on those fresh tires. He's going to pass him on the inside, get one of those laps back, and the white flag is out for Nathan Nicholson.
Everything looked good all the way through the field, had some side-by-side battles, but room given, so Nathan Nicholson gets done what he wanted to, got to the stripes, saw the white flag, and now we'll head for home.
Here comes the number 99 of Nathan Nicholson. He's returned to 2511 Racing in a very strong way. Nathan Nicholson is going to win at the Rock. Wonderful performance from Nicholson. He really needed it for his team. 2511 Racing with a very awful day. A lot of destroyed race cars. The one vehicle that didn't get into an incident was that 99 machine. He comes home with the victory as you see more drivers come across the start-finish line here at the end.
We had about half the field that was on the opposite straightaway than the race leader. They're just now coming around to complete their race. But you're right, great drive there for Nathan Nicholson. Obviously had a strategy out of the gate. We saw him keep track position for a long period of time in the first half of this race. It worked out then when he came to pit road that he restarted up inside of the top 10. So never really had to deal with a lot of traffic. He obviously had to deal with some traffic there towards the end when he was bypassing drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. But when you consider a lot of other guys that were running up towards the front and the traffic they had to deal with their pit strategy, Nathan Nicholson, he worked it to perfection.
Here goes Nathan Nicholson in the number 99 machine. Changed his number, running this Trackhouse styled font as well this season, and went back to 2511, and it seems to be working out for him so far. Was really strong at Daytona, was not able to get the win there, but was very strong at Daytona. And here at the Rock was one of the strongest trucks all day, and the strategy worked out well for him. He had the track position, had the clean air, and now he's going to go around, do a victory lap in a slippy, slidey sort of fashion, it looks like.
Yeah, we talk about drivers trying to get some redemption from last week at Daytona. I mean, what about the fact that Nathan Nicholson led 23 laps in the season opener, the most of any driver, but ended up coming home with a 13th position. Got to feel good that second week in a row had a pretty dominant truck, and this time is able to capture the checkered flag for his troubles.
Great job for Nicholson, able to snag that victory, and he is just sliding around this racetrack, doing whatever sort of celebration he can think of around this racetrack right now, the number 99 machine, and try to get you some interviews.
I would have thought he'd done enough sliding here today. He wants to do more.
He hitting the wall and everything. You need to save that truck. You need to save that truck. Bring it back to the shop.
Don't need the tires, though. You can use them up.
Great run from him. But yeah, we're going to try to get you some interviews here momentarily from our front three finishers. But let's go through the finishing order here a little bit. Nathan Nicholson able to snag a victory here tonight in the number 99 machine, finishing first. Hunter Brittle coming home with the great second place effort. Josh Cottle in the third spot. Stagner in that Minnie Mouse machine able to come home fourth. You had RJ Williams in fifth. Neiswanger sixth. Moore in seventh. Tarian, Bransky, and Brockman round out your top 10. Then on to the next slide. At 11th through 20th back here, you have Baker, who was really strong all race long, comes home 11th. You have Nathan Jump back here in 12th. Christopher Heller, Eric Kepf, Tyler McClellan, who was really around the center of most of the action here tonight. Brandon Burkuski was fairly quiet most of the day, other than his incident in the infield. And you had Steven Sims, Rodriguez, Cody Giles and James Shiflett rounding out your top 20. And then on to the next slide. Jordan Gonzalez had such a strong truck here tonight. Unfortunately, got into too many incidents, ends up finishing back there in 22nd. Our reigning champion, Jake Miller, got into an incident early and just was never able to make that time back up. Ends up coming home in the 27th position. Then you have Mr. Bobby Carter, Elliot Henderson coming home in the 28th position after a very difficult day. And then on to the final slide of drivers here at Rockingham, 31st on 30th on back. You have William Barbagelata coming home in the I forgot to mention William Barbagelata on that slide in the 29th position. You have Gavin Fitzgerald in 32nd back here. Zachary Henry, after all that damage he had, ended up coming down pit road and staying down there, ended up finishing 17 laps down. And then Kyle Hall, Briar Fritz, Ashton Lawson, Matt Daniels, Nick Martin, Frederick Cremines, and Lewis Woodall all leaving the race early because of damage here, Seth.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers I'm looking at heading into next week, the road course race at Long Beach that are down here in the finishing results. We know they're very good at the right and left-hand corner road courses that will be looking to gain points back that they lost here today, like an Ashton Lawson, Jake Miller, Brandon Barkuski, Elliot Henderson. Going to be interesting to see what kind of a comeback trail they'll be able to be on, because you know that these are a lot of drivers that we saw up at the front when they had their incidents and just were never able to come back from them. Might have felt like they let one get away here today.
A lot of drivers are definitely going to feel like that today. A lot of drivers up at the front throughout the day, but ended up being Nathan Nicholson with the victory. I think we're going to try to bring in our first interview driver. I think we're going to interview third place finisher Josh Cottle to start off with. Josh, Kyle and Seth up in the FRN booth. You got me?
What's up, guys?
Josh, that was a great race, man. A very exciting one to say the least. What was it from your standpoint?
That ending long run was a blast. That was definitely the most fun out of the entire race. I'm just glad where I finished, because at the terrible finish I got last week, I'm glad to get a P3.
Able to get a P3. It seemed like at the end of the race before we got that checkered flag, you had a lot of speed. Were you kind of hoping that this race might go for an extra 20, 30 laps?
I was really bad on the short runs personally. Like I just could not figure it out. The long runs I definitely could get the car turning. I wasn't really tight that run. I just wish we had a little bit longer of a race. I might have had some for Brittle.
Was this maybe your mindset going into this race? Was this what you kind of expected? A very crazy and almost wreck-filled race here tonight?
Oh, definitely. This track just burns the tires up. It's really hard to pass, especially on the bottom, especially if people hold you up top. So it's basically, I was just trying to make it to the end. That was my entire goal for this race, was just making it to the end.
I think that was a great goal to set for yourself, because the drivers that ended up finishing up the front usually had the cleaner cars. So it seemed like the good strategy from you, Josh. But next week we head to a completely different track. We head to the streets of Long Beach. Are you looking forward to that at all?
Honestly, I'm excited. I'm a kind of a road course fan. I enjoy it. It's not my favorite, but I'm excited to see how the trucks can handle there.
That would be interesting. Started the season off at Daytona, Rockingham this week, then go to the streets of Long Beach next week. That should be a crazy one. But before we let you go here, Josh, anybody you have to thank or shout out here for tonight's race?
Yeah, I have to thank y'all for doing the broadcast every week, man. I'm glad to be back. Back with Spectrum. Shout out to Eric and RJ. Thank them for letting me run the trucks with them. Shout out to HCM. That's about it.
Well, we like having you back, Josh. It's always good to see you race. A very strong race car driver, especially on them short tracks, and we hope to see you compete for the championship this season, man.
Thank you, man.
Of course. That was Josh Cottle, the driver of the number 32 machine for Spectrum. And now I think we're going to try to get you an interview with our second place finisher, Mr. Hunter Brittle from Dark Horse. Hunter Brittle, it's Kyle Seth up in the FRN booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
That was a great race there, Hunter. We were thinking there in the booth with around 15, 20 laps to go. You were driving down Nicholson, and you just kind of fell off when you got to the lap cars. Was it the lap cars that kind of just hurt your momentum, or the tires just kind of fall off there near the end?
Yeah, Nicholson. Well, so when I first went off the start there, Nicholson got out there, and I had to fight Barb. for that second spot for a good long time. I'm pretty sure that's where all that all the tire wear came from towards the end. But yeah, it slowed down. I was running him down, and my heart was pounding for that entire last stint. It's I've been wanting to win for a while now, and it's coming. I can feel it. But yeah, I wish I could have got to him as soon as I saw the lappers up there. I thought maybe I could catch him with some of them, and then he just took off, and I was only halfway through him. I couldn't get it done today, but overall, still a good day. I can walk away with my head held high.
Kind of have that same feeling about you, Hunter. Very consistent driver, Hunter Brittle, trying to get that first one. You've been so close so many times before. Is there any certain races on the schedule you kind of have circled for maybe that first win?
Well, always the plate tracks. I consider myself a really good plate racer, and I really enjoy that form of racing. So always looking forward to those. I'm trying to pull up the schedule here because I am not looking forward to Long Beach next week. I can tell you that. I'm not sure how many people are, but
that was my next
yeah.
question.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of people who are looking forward to that one. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. Yeah, this next little stint's going to be interesting. I just bought Long Beach and Twin Ring Mategi today, so I don't have any experience on those. We're gonna have to get to Charlotte before I'm back on a track that I feel I've got a decent shot at. But we'll keep on pressing. I've got to keep grinding and get these points. Don't want nobody to start gapping me for no reason other than my own. So we'll keep at it.
One of the big discussions all race long here, Hunter, was tires. How was your tires strategy? How was tires really working for you out there tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, in Dark Horse Motorsports practice session yesterday, we had a big discussion about how bad these tires fell off, and you could definitely see it when we all got going there on the first restart or the first start of the race. We were all single file there for the longest time, trying to feel out the tires and saving them as much as we could. But there at the end, I had no choice but to go for it, and it showed there as soon as I got to the lap cars. But I got it dialed in throughout the race, and I'm happy where it ended up.
You ended up in the second position. Not much better you can do than that. Anybody you have to thank or shout out for your performance here tonight, Hunter, before we let you go?
I got to shout out my sponsor, DOG Fabrications. My good buddy Rick let me put his brand on the car. Always a pleasure to help a friend get his brand out there. The Dark Horse Motorsports boys, we've got us a good team this year. Morale is high. We've got a good consistent practice effort going. It's some real communication with the team. It's all coming together. We've got a good crew, and it's a great environment to be a part of. So I gotta thank them, because without my practice session last night, I'm not sure how well I would have done, because I think this is actually the first time I've run this track. So we'll take it. We'll take that. Take a second place for the first time any day. You guys up in the booth do a great job with the broadcast every time. I try to shout out to y'all. I really enjoy going back and watching the broadcast. I always tell my friends and family every time every Tuesday night, make sure you look for us on FRN. The league admins too, they do a really good job of keeping everybody's heads on straight. I know it's a challenge, but they keep us all together in this one big happy family that we call the Great Lakes Truck Series. It's a pleasure to run in this league, especially Shane Neiswanger. He's our Dark Horse rep in the admin group. Shout out to him for holding it down in his first admin season. But yeah, I think that's everyone I got. But I'm sure there's much more. Everybody, all the fans out there watching, I appreciate y'all tuning in and everything. It's awesome to be a part of a great league like this, just in its whole setup.
Great Lakes, definitely different from most leagues, and it is a family in a way, a crazy family at that here at the Great Lakes Truck Series. But always a pleasure to talk to you, Hunter, and we wish you luck next week at the streets of Long Beach, no matter how much you're not looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna still go out and give it 110% like we do every week. So Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll see you. We'll see you back in here.
Maybe we will. You have a great night, Hunter.
You as well, boys.
That was Hunter Brittle, the driver of the number 10 machine for Dark Horse Motorsports. Now I think we're going to finally bring in our race winner, driver of the number 99 machine for 2511 Racing. That'd be Nathan Nicholson. Nathan, Kyle and Seth up in the booth. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
Nathan. Able to get the job done in your return to 2511. How does it feel?
Well, it feels pretty good. Brandon and Chris and all them, they have faith in me as a driver compared to the other teams I've been on. They just got a lot of faith in me, and I just drove probably one of the best oval track races because you'll never see me in victory lane on these ovals.
And Nathan, more known as a road course ringer, but you were strong from the drop of the green flag here at Rockingham. Definitely was one of the strongest trucks all night. But the talk of the town tonight was tires. How were you able to manage those tires as best you can? And what was really the strategy going into tonight?
Just braking early in the corner. We as a team, we all decided to run really low brake biases. I think I was running 52% starting out because I knew how tight the truck got. Um, I'm really not. I wasn't that great in turn 3 and 4. I kept washing up way too high for some reason. I could never figure that turn out through the race. But turn 1 and 2, I figured out how to just glide through there. I think just once I got a big enough gap, I would just back down my pace to about 65%, let them catch back up, and just start driving away again, just so I could save some tire.
Yeah, we were curious on that last run if Brittle was just catching you or if you were taking it easy on your tires, but it's good to know that information that you were taking it fairly easy on your tires there on that last run and then kicked it into high gear when you saw him get a little closer once you passed those lap cars. I've been asking both previous drivers that were in here, Brittle and Cottle, about Long Beach, and I expect you to be one of the favorites. I expect you to be one of the few people that's actually looking forward to next week at Long Beach. Is that the story?
Not really. I think it's going to be a terrible track. I'm probably going to get killed by somebody. I mean, it's probably going to happen. It always seems to happen, unless it's like a big open type of road course. I think it's going to be a lot of pile ups, and I think I might get involved in something. I'm not 100% sure. I just have to wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, Streets of Long Beach will definitely be an interesting race at the minimum for that, and should be interesting. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be in that, making my first start of the season, so I'm personally looking forward to that race next week. But anybody you have to thank or shout out for this victory tonight, Nathan, man?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out to the whole 2511 team. Like I said, since I got cut from my other team last season for I don't know 100% why, but Brandon and Heller, they sat down and they talked with me and they wanted me back, and they said if I come back, I'll start winning races. And sure enough, second race of the season, I came out and I think, like I said, I put on my probably one of my best performances. Um, really fun battling. I do feel bad for Brandon. When I was behind Brockman, I slid up, clipped Gavin, and then it clipped Brandon. I apologize to Gavin too. I know that was 100% on me. Just I don't know Brockman. It felt like he was just holding the clutch pedal in the middle of the corner and wasn't going. I want to y'all putting the broadcast on Eric and all them. They do a pretty good job. I know I've been kind of MIA around this Discord for a while. Just kind of taking some time focusing on myself, but yeah, definitely want to thank 2511. Those guys, I'm just glad somebody, at least believes in me, even though sometimes I have an attitude problem, but they know how to believe in me to get the job done. So I want to give a big shout out to them again.
Always nice speaking to you, Nathan. We hope to speak to you again next week after Long Beach, man.
Alrighty.
You have a great night. Celebrate that win.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. And that was the driver of the number 99 machine, Nathan Nicholson, after his first victory of the season here at Rockingham. A very crazy race, but Nicholson ends up coming up with the victory. Any last thoughts here, Seth?
Well, I mean, we knew coming into this race it was going to be all about tire strategy and, who was going to have the best handling truck. the strategy definitely played out for Nathan Nicholson. There's no doubt he had one of the top 5 fastest trucks in the field, so no surprise to see him pick up this checkered flag. Congratulations to him, and kudos to you for having the bravery next week to try and take on that Long Beach street course, because I'm with Coddle. I'm going to be very interested to see how trucks handle around that particular track. We've only ever seen open wheel cars going around that particular street course, and you take these heavy trucks and you have them traversing those tight corners. When you've got a guy like Nathan Nicholson, who won the road course race in last year's schedule at Watkins Glen, dominated that race and says, I'm not really looking forward to the road course race coming up. You know it's going to be a doozy, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. I'm sure that everybody watching here tonight, that they're going to be tuning in next week, if out of curiosity, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm doing it. I've never seen a truck race on a street course before, especially a track like Long Beach. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because I have a really strong feeling they might not go there next season. Because it could be a doozy. Gonna run through looks like the finishing order right here before we finish out. But just a very crazy race here tonight at Rockingham. And first race Daytona, second race Rockingham. Next week we go to Long Beach, and the week after that we go to Bristol. So a very insane and intense start to the schedule here in the Great Lakes Truck Series. And Nicholson able to get the job done in race number 2 with his return to 2511 racing. Of course, raced for Dark Horse Motorsports last year, was able to beat out his former teammate for the win. Hunter Brittle coming home second with a great performance, and Coddle coming home in third. But I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Great Lakes Truck Series here on the Flatout Racing Network. And next week, like I said, we'll be in the streets of Long Beach, same place, same time here on the Flatout Racing Network. Once again, congratulations to Nathan Nicholson, and have a great night, everybody.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network